welcome back to the sideboard here at Star City Games Columbus, Ohio, here at the Origins Game Fair. I am joined by Andrew Shrout, perhaps best known as Louisville Classic champion, but probably better known as Pro Tour top 8 competitor. And how many opens you got? Like 5 or 6?
5, I think.
5?
4 in the Classic.
4 in the Classic, yeah. Nice. And much of your success in Standard, especially at the Classic, is with a Prime Speaker Bant kind of shell.
Yeah.
This is more of a hybrid between Prime Speaker Bant and Bant Control.
Right.
But we had a lot of requests on Twitter for you to talk about this deck, so we're gonna let you take the reins here.
Okay. I've talked quite a bit about Prime Speaker Bant. I think I've done like 2 other deck techs like over the last couple months. When I first put the deck together, the big problem that I found was that I was looking for what I was calling a bridge card, something that could get you from the early game through the mid game to the late game. Ideally, something that costs 2 and could just kind of be a stumbling block. It could buy you time against aggro.
And lucky for you, they printed Voice of Resurgence.
Exactly. At the time, we were trying out Strangleroot Geist, which wasn't quite what we wanted. And then we moved into like Feeling of Dread, main deck Syncopate, all sorts of weird things.
Sure.
And yeah, Voice is. How did we miss it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, no, Voice is perfect. Voice is exactly what you want. It's a huge threat.
The best Doomed Traveler ever, being able to have 2 bodies that aren't double green, of course.
Right.
Like Strangleroot Geist.
Yeah.
Easy on the mana. Speaking of which, a lot of decks have Farseek.
Yeah.
Or they have Mana Elves. Your deck has both.
Yeah. So I played the deck with 8 mana guys and 4 Farseeks. After that, the kind of consensus build for this style of deck sort of moved away from the mana guys. People started playing things like Azorius Charm, main deck Supreme Verdict, and they would just have like 25 land and 4 Farseek. This is kind of a hedge. I'm playing 5 mana guys. I have 3 Abyssus Pilgrims and 2 Arbor Elves. The best part about this deck, the reason I enjoy playing this deck so much, and I think the reason that it's so powerful is the ability to ramp out. This is basically like the Valakut of this standard.
Being able to go from not necessarily 2/4/6 like Valakut could,
right,
but having 2 mana accelerants on by turn 4 to be able to get your Prime Speaker Zaganas online on turn 4.
Yeah, this is the deck that can most consistently play a Thragtusk on turn 3, which is a huge plan. Yeah, so it's not 2/4/6 so much as like 1/3/5.
Sure.
But this just, and once you have tons of mana, you never run out of things to do once you start chaining Prime Speakers. I have Sphinx's Revelations now as well, so yeah, like various card drawers, and you always have a full hand. So no matter how much mana you end up with, you can always find something to do with it.
Absolutely. The people who are used to seeing this deck, I mean, I'm used to seeing this deck, and some of the one-ofs and some of the numbers are pretty interesting. But you also have a new addition that I haven't seen in I don't think ever in this deck, which is Jace, Architect of Thought.
Right.
Is that thanks to the Pro Tour showing you how good Jace was again?
Maybe. I don't know. No, Jace has gotten better. Jace is actually a lot better than it used to be. Previously, like the aggro decks would be playing things like Hellrider, Thundermaw Hellkite, Falconwrath Aristocrat, cards that didn't really care about a Jace. Whereas now you have to worry about things like Doom Traveler, Young Wolf, Verol's, Cartel Aristocrat. Lingering Souls.
Sure.
The +1 effect of Jace has gotten a lot better broadly in the format, and I knew I wanted all 3 Garruk Relentlesses. I think that card is insane right now.
Absolutely.
And so that kind of cramped the space where I couldn't find room for main deck 5-drop Garruks. Sure. But I still wanted a lot of Planeswalkers. I wanted a Planeswalker that could serve as a source of card advantage. And so Jace fills that role as well, and is just incidentally good for its +1 ability.
Absolutely, and a couple other Celestia cards that I'm going to point out. One of them has the word Celestia in its name. The other one's secretly a Celestia card. Celestia Charm in the main deck is a card that we haven't really seen much of, but when Return to Ravnica first came out, I thought Celestia Charm was the most powerful of the 5, just on pure power level. And finally getting its due recently, and in your deck as well.
Yeah, it's kind of a bridge card. It's basically like the 5th and 6th voice in the matchups where you need that effect. It's also a big trump in the Junk Reanimator matchup.
Absolutely.
I've cut down to 1 Angel of Serenity, and I'm really leaning on Celestia Charms to win Angel of Serenity wars once I draw buckets of cards with Prime Speakers.
Right, and it certainly doesn't hamper your ability to take down a Thundermaw Hellkite every once in a while either. The other one that's secretly Celestia, I guess I was kind of cheating there, is Gavany Township.
Sure.
With only 5 mana guys in the deck, not quite as effective, but still quite effective in a deck that has a million creatures, not to mention Garruk Relentless.
Yeah, you can make plenty of tokens with the Garruks. It gives you something to do with your mana when you don't have something big to play. and just adds a lot of pressure. Someone earlier was referring to Gavney Township as my invitational card, which I'll
Sure.
take. I wish I was that clever. No, that card's insane. I've been playing it from day one, and I'm going to be really sad to see it go.
Absolutely, yeah. That's going to be missed. But we've also got some sideboard cards to discuss. Another Selesnya Charm. Clones, I think people are used to seeing at this point, especially out of a deck like this. But there are some unique choices in the sideboard. One I want to point out is Unflinching Courage.
Sure.
Unflinching Courage, mostly in the Bant hexproof decks these days. Occasionally you'll see it out of the Junk Aristocrats deck as a way to race, similar access to like Blood Artist, similar access I should say. Is that for where you're in here for? Is just to race, put it on like a smiter and hope they can't kill it?
Yeah, it's it sets you up to race against Burning to Emissary decks primarily. It's a plan against Bant hexproof. Bant hexproof is a very bad matchup, but insofar as we have a plan, it's Unflinching Courage.
Sure.
And yeah, it's in previous iterations we were playing things like Centaur Healer. We were trying to buy time with Feeling of Dread. I think Unflinching Courage is just the best life gain effect we have available.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's proactive.
Yeah.
So like previously, like the ways we had to gain life were things like Rock's Faithmender that you could sit back on. But Unflinching Courage on a Smiter, on a Resto Angel, even on a Voice is a fine plan that they have to deal with.
Absolutely. Don't laugh. It works.
It does work.
Armadillo Cloak style. And we've got
No longer the flavor text.
No longer the flavor text, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Rats. Silklash Spider. Card that's popped up every once in a while, one of my favorites. A very good way of dealing with Thundermaw Hellkite especially.
Yep.
Is its main purpose to deal with Lingering Souls?
Mostly Lingering Souls. Some of the decks that have Lingering Souls will also have Skursog High Priest, Falconwrath Aristocrat sometimes. Sure. It's also great against Reanimator for Resto and Ancient Serenities. And it's a one-of you can tutor with Garruk or Windless, so it just one slot in the sideboard, but it really adds a lot of value.
Absolutely, yeah. So we've talked enough about the deck. Your first Pro Tour.
Sure.
You made the top 8. That's not a feat that many people accomplish.
It's more than you'd realize, actually,
Really?
because once I did it, I had to do the research. It's been something like 13 people have done it.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Well, it's still an impressive feat.
Yeah.
There are people who have played on 33 Pro Tours and haven't made the top 8 until Pro Tour Gate Crash, like some people I could mention. I hope Jerry doesn't punch me in the face when I get back to the office. But there are some people who take a while to get their first Pro Tour top 8.
Sure.
You always seem to have a cool under pressure when you're on camera or in top 8s. Not that other people don't, but
right.
it seems to have certainly paid off. Did that help? Or do you feel? Do you actually feel extra pressure, like so much that you like play differently?
I didn't. I think at the Pro Tour until I actually got to the quarterfinals. There was other lights. Obviously, I was against Josh Erlayton, Player of the Year. There was a little pressure there, definitely. I might have been a little intimidated.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely playing a lot of opens. I've been going to these things for a couple years now, and had several feature matches. Kind of played under the cameras before. It's something, you get used to. You know, I think I lost probably the first 4 feature matches I had at Star City events.
Absolutely.
But eventually you just kind of get used to it, and it's not a big deal anymore.
What kind of suggestions would you have for people at home who are maybe not just starting out in competitive Magic, but who are sort of just starting to get feature matches, just starting to do well in tournaments, and have maybe had 2 or 3 feature matches, but they're still nervous under the lights?
Sure.
Do you have any suggestions?
Just keep in mind, you'll read statistics sometimes. You'll look at when you look at like Hall of Fame statistics, you'll see very like insanely good players, like John Finkel type players, and you look at their lifetime win percentages. They'll be in the high, like the low 70s at most. Sometimes more like 62%. Right. So it's just the way Magic works. You'll lose a lot of matches. Just kind of keep that in mind and just like play your A game and don't worry about what if you make a mistake on camera, people are going to see it. People are going to think you're an idiot. That'll happen. Don't sweat that, and just like kind of understand that there will be ups and downs and you will lose some. Yeah. And kind of once you've kind of accepted that, then it's a lot easier to like actually focus on like finding the correct play.
Right. Brand new children's book from Andrew Shrout. Everybody loses.
Everybody loses.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Andrew, thank you so much for joining me, and good luck going forward. You're 6-1, correct?
Yes.
Going, and we hope to see you again under the camera in the top 8. So, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Good luck, and we'll be right back here at Star City Games Columbus.